Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining me and joining us. I want to thank Maggie and Carly and the Lighthouse Guild for bringing this important discussion to the table. We all know, like Maggie just said, things are getting crazy. Sounds like they're getting crazy, but in reality, we're hearing about things that are happening. But although we hear a lot of them, they're few. So, generally we are always safe. We constantly be safe. And, the statistic wise, you'll never have an issue, ever, but that doesn't mean that we don't have to be prepared. We don't have to watch out for ourselves. We don't have to do the right thing and what to do if something did happen. So, I have actually 4 points. And first, let me say that I'm Sensei Devin Fernandez. I train and teach Nimpo Ninjutsu, which is the art of the ninja. I am a ninja. I am, in fact, a blind ninja. So, and all my students are also blind ninjas. So,
with this thing.
So we always use that as like a selling point. We're blind ninjas. But for those of you out there who are seeing impaired, you're all ninjas as well. And the reason I say that is because you have to count on your senses, your other senses. Your hearing, your feel, your smell, and these are all quality senses that we don't develop any stronger. We just become aware of them. People say, "Oh, your sense of smell got better." No, it didn't. I just become more aware of my sense of smell. My hearing got better. No, it didn't. I'm just more aware of what's going on around me. I'm listening more. So, what I'd like to say though is, initially, the first rule of self-defense is intuition. So we all have this gift. It's a skill. It's inherent in all of us. The cavemen used to have this. They were hunted at one point, and they used to get your hair go up on the back of your neck when they felt danger. That's not changed. That, in fact, the only thing is we don't pay attention to that, and we need to. So we've always, I'm sure everybody here on the call has had that feeling that something's not right. I don't feel right. There's something going on. There's something wrong. And maybe you ignore it and you find out later on, oh, geez, I forgot to feed the cat. I forgot, whatever. So it could be something very slight. But if you don't ignore it, then you look around and say, oh, geez, there it is. I forgot to feed the cat. And, good thing I did. Right. So, and we have those instincts. For instance, if you're at a stoplight and light turns green, and instead of taking off right away, something tells you stop, wait a second, and boom, a car flies through the intersection. That was your intuition telling you to pay attention. And when we're walking across the street, the same exact thing. Everybody's starting to walk, but you take that second and boom, a car flies through the intersection. So intuition plays a huge role. And one way is to develop that intuition, and it comes from the third eye, which is located in the center of your forehead, right between your eyebrows. And that's why we call our program Third Eye Insight, because that's where you get your insight from. That's where you get messages from. That's where you get feelings from. That's where you get clairvoyance from. And if you focus and you meditate and you pay attention to this, you'll start to get messages. And I don't mean these voices in your head telling you to do stupid stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the messages like, oh, geez, I was just thinking about calling blah, blah, blah. And you call that person, and that person on the other end says, I was just thinking about you. I was going to call you. It's kind of messages that are almost telepathic. So, with that, in order to develop it, it's the sixth chakra in our body, and there's seven chakras, seven main chakras that are our energy points, our center points. So if you focus on this chakra and you focus it and envision a spear of ball spinning, slowly spinning, slowly spinning, slowly spinning, and then it's the color of the night sky, dark blue. So as you pay attention to this ball, and as you breathe in, you breathe energy into this ball, this sphere, that starts to glow and that starts to grow. Okay. And that's how you start to develop your insights. Now, answers may not come to you when you're meditating. They may come to you down the road when you least expect it, you know. So, but you got to pay attention to these kinds of messages that you do get, because they are important. I've also been in the security business since 1984. And I can tell you stories of people who walked into their homes and just felt something was wrong, just something was wrong, only to find out as they entered further into the house, they had just been robbed, you know. So they had the feeling, they knew something was wrong. And of course they left the house, you know, immediately and called the cops. But these are just things that we are all equipped with. And we need to develop that. You know, that's a huge gift that we all have. The next point is awareness. So you know, we have to be aware of where we are, where we're going, and at all times, right? So I'll give you, you know, a couple of examples. With walking into a building, I need to know where the exits are. I'm walking into the front door. I do expect to leave through that front door. But what if something happens? You know, now all of a sudden that front door is blocked. I can't get out there. It's loaded with people who are rushing to get out the door. Where's the exit doors? Where's the stairwells? Where's, you know, the back exits? How do I get out of this location? And for those of us who are visually impaired, you kind of draw a map in your head. And sometimes you need somebody to help you to draw that map, to let you know what the layout is. And in an emergency, the layout is definitely going to change, because people are rushing, people are banging into each other, chairs are flying, tables are moving. You know, the layout's not the same as it was. But if you have a good idea of where you are and where you're going, you know, that could be a lifesaver. So being aware of not just the exits, but you know, the people around you. What kind of conversations are going on around you? You know, are they fun and laughing and having a great time, or are they starting to get a little nasty and, you know, it's starting to get a little heated over there? And I need to pay attention to these things, you know, because that heated conversation may turn into a violent confrontation. So at that point, what do I want to do? If that happens, I need to know, where am I going? How am I getting out of here? I don't want to be part of this. You know, and I remember when I was younger, we always wanted to watch a good fight. You know, nowadays, you know, when I was younger, it was a fist fight and it was over. You know, nowadays, you two guys get into a fight. Next thing you know, one guy's got a knife, next guy's got a gun, and boom, somebody's dead. You know, or somebody's bleeding on the ground. So things have changed now. So, and I don't want to get stuck getting hit by a bullet that wasn't meant for me. You know, and it was a stray bullet that because I was stupid and nosy, I wanted to see what was going on, and boom, I put myself in danger. So, you know, we definitely have to be aware of, for instance, in the restaurants, like I said, where the exits are, of course, where the bathrooms are. If something happened, how you're going to get out. If something happened and you're with a party, where you're going to meet them if you get separated. Really super important. What to do if you're, you know, in a hotel. We were in a hotel a few years back, and the fire alarm went off in the middle of the night. So I grabbed my stuff, and I know we got to leave this building. I think it was like a 10-story hotel building, and I walk out into the hallway, and people are like, "So what do we do? What do we do? Do we think we should leave?" I say, "Yeah, that's the fire alarm. It's time to move. You know, there's no question now. We got to go." And for some of you who are a bit older, know back in the 80s, I guess it was, that there was a fire in Puerto Rico in a hotel, and a lot of people died because they ran all to the doors, and the doors were locked and they're chained, and they couldn't get through, and they panicked, and they crashed into each other, stampeded each other, and some people had to rush to the roof of the building to get out. So you just never know. You know, even in a hotel, you feel like you're safe. This is all great. Everything's perfect. The stairway may be full of smoke. Where's the other stairway? You know, I gotta be able to find my way out of here. You know, I want to make sure that not just myself, but whoever is with me is safe. And if not, where we're going to meet, where we're going to find each other, so this way you're not going crazy outside when everybody's out of the building looking for each other. So yeah, so being aware of that, being aware when you're on the subway stations, on the track, if you're on a double-edged track, you want to make sure you in the middle of that walkway. You hear people getting pushed off the train tracks, and they're at a decent distance from the edge, and yet the person pushes them with such force that they just go flying and fall over. If you're on a single edge track, find a wall, put your back to the wall. This way when the train approaches, once it's already in the station, then you start moving forward. You don't have to look down the track to see where the train's coming. And train's coming. Eventually it's coming. You don't want to be somebody's, doll and get pushed into the train, into the tracks. And we all know on the floor, there's a diamond plate on the floor to let you know that you're within a certain distance. I think it's 18 inches from, the edge of the track, but you don't even want to go be that close. Why be that close? I don't need to be that close. I know the train's going to come, and when it comes, I'll get on it. I know people want to rush on because they want to get a seat or what have you, but, it's more important to get on the train safely than to be pushed off the tracks. Yeah, so, being aware of the buildings, where you are, where the exits are, where the stairwells are, how do I get out of here? If I needed help, who can I call? Where can I go? All those kind of things are important, and tell family members what you're doing, where you're going, even though you may feel like they're kind of invading on your privacy, but, maybe the tip that gives them, a chance to find you when, you're lost or you're in trouble. So the other thing is to be prepared, right? So when I say being prepared, we have to think in our head ahead of time of what would happen if, what would happen if this happened to me, if somebody grabbed me, and what would I do? And what if there was a fire in the building? Where would I go? How would I get out of here? You got to put those thoughts in your head, although, it's hard to put them in your head, and, concerning that these are things that you need to be thinking about these days. But it could be those thoughts and that thinking that really saves your life. In school, everybody's done it. They do the fire drills. And why do they do that? So people have an idea of what to do when something happens, and having an idea what to do stops a lot of the panic. Okay, so I know I got to get out of this building. Let's get out. And you're thinking, get out of the building. Let's get out of the building. So having a focus, having an idea, being prepared, what to do in the event of an emergency. And unfortunately, we just recently had the shooting at the Buffalo supermarket, right? So how many of you people know where the exits are in the supermarket, right? Probably nobody. Nobody uses any exit but the door you come in at and the door you go out of. But there's several exits in the building. In the back of the building, God bless you. In the back of the building, you have the loading dock. You have exit doors. You have what they call man doors, which is just a regular single door that opens to the outside. But if you had to, and you do hear shooting, you do hear commotion, you do hear excitement, something that's not sounding kosher, get out of there. Don't stick around. Don't wait. You go into the back room. So what if they kick you out later? That's fine. I just want to make sure that I'm safe and I'm going to go home today, and that kind of thing. And for the most part, the attacker who's shooting is shooting from the exit door he came into, and then he makes his rounds. Okay, so if you're away from that area, chances are better that you may not, be involved in it at all, or be a target. So that that's super important. And we know that in bars, several years ago here in New York as well, they were doing some pyrotechnics on the stage, and next thing you know, the roof lit up on fire. Almost everybody in the bar died. All these young kids, all these young people. So again, people didn't know what to do. They're looking and thinking, oh my God, this is great. What a party. What a show. But meanwhile, the roof is burning. So, getting out, finding your way out. And again, people got trampled getting out the front door. So, again, be prepared, be alert, be aware of what and how you're going to, protect yourself. And this is all self-defense, right? So we're protecting ourselves, we're defending ourselves, we're not putting ourselves in a situation that doesn't feel good. We're aware of where we are, where we're going, what the building looks like, who the people I'm going to be around. If I'm going to a concert, what type of music am I listening to? What type of crowd does that draw? All these questions should come into your head, and a defense to what if in your head. All right. You don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to be obsessed about it. You just have a plan, be prepared. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Boom, boom, boom. And act and move on your actions. And again, your first responsibility is to yourself. However, if you got family members that need help, boom, you got to be there to help them. In a active shooter situation, if somebody's shooting and the partner next to you, the person next to you is shot or wounded, guess what? You're the first responder. You need to know what to do to help this person. Okay, so and one of the main points is you apply pressure to the wound, right? You don't just wrap the wound, you stuff the wound. You could take off, your shirt, your handkerchief, your scarf, whatever it is, your socks, rip your shirt and tear it and stuff it in the wound. Stop the bleeding. Okay, that's the most important. And if you're there by yourself and you're bleeding, that's the same thing. You got to stop the bleeding. Put pressure on the wound. Make sure that the wound doesn't continually bleed out. Stuff it, pack it as best you can, and wait for help. Right. And if you're helping somebody, the same deal. You pack their wound, you stop the bleeding, and you wait for help. Okay. So being prepared and able to do these things are kind of two different things. I mean, a lot of people are going to see that, for the first time, you see blood gushing out of somebody. It's probably not a good sight. I never seen it myself. But I'm sure it's not a good sight, and you may get faint, you may, get sick, you may get nauseous. These are things that are going to happen, and you also have to realize that at the same time your adrenaline is pumping, so you're nervous, and your body is reacting to all this stimulus around it, and your adrenaline is up there, so you may be, running on all 8 cylinders, and you're firing all 8 cylinders, and everything is great. You help somebody, you locked yourself in a room, you protected yourself, and then you get in what they call an adrenaline crash. Your body starts to crash, which means that the adrenaline starts to seep out of the body, and then you get shakes, you get nauseous, you get dizzy, you get faint, you pass out. A lot of things happen. You get the shakes, but these are all kind of normal things, right? So if we're talking about an active shooter situation, you have to realize that the cops are on their way, the police are on their way. So basically what you're doing is you're biding time, right? You want to waste as much time, protect yourself as long as you can until the cops get there, until the EMS get there, the EMTs, right? The EMS get there. And so it's about preparing yourself for that, locking yourself in a room if you can. It's barricading the doors if you can. And some of the tips on the website that I'm going to ask Carly and Maggie to share with you is from Homeland Security. We had the privilege of working with them on a video for what to do in an active shooter trauma workshop, right? Active shooter trauma situation. So a lot of information on that video is what they shared with us, how to pack the wound, how to protect yourself, lock yourself in a room, how to, barricade the room, how to barricade and wrap extension cords around the hinges so that the hinges don't open. tie the doors down, close shut, block the windows, so that they can't see you. Have, the people go into the corners of the room if possible. And whatever it is that you can do to protect yourself, and to know what your next step would be if that active shooter came into that room, it was banging on that door. What's your next step? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? And if you had to break a window and go out the window, so be it, as long as you're not going to kill yourself falling out the window, jumping out the window. And in most of our schools around here anyway, second floor, the most that's going to happen is you break a leg, but you're out of the building and you're safe. Again, the cops are on their way. Cops know what's going on. Cops see you, he sees you, they're going to run to you and they're going to want to, protect you. If in an active shooter situation, you come out of the room and you start running towards the cop, remember, he doesn't know who you are. You could be an attacker, one of the attackers. You got to run, hands up, fingers out, help me, help me, help me, and let them know that you're not the attacker. And even then, you got to listen to everything they say. They may throw you on the floor and handcuff you. They don't know yet. They're still emptying the building. They're still checking out what's going on. They haven't cleared the building yet. And afterwards, after they take you out, then you can tell your story. But you need to listen to the cops. You need to listen to the responding officers. Again, remember, their adrenaline is pumping just as much as yours is. They got their finger on the trigger. They don't know who's who. You don't want to be a victim of a shooting by a cop because he thought you were an attacker. All right. So a lot of these things you really need to pay attention to. And I know that when it's happening, it's easy to say now, but when it's happening, people like deer, they freeze in the headlights. They don't know what to do. What do I do? What do I do? And that's why being prepared, putting it in your head, and maybe even rehearsing it, so you have the steps down, physically have the steps down, so your brain has the motor skills or the motor memory, the muscle memory to do what it has to do to survive. Okay, so now let's say you blocked the doors, everything, you did everything you could do, and the attacker's outside the door, and he's kicking the door in, and you can see he's going to get in soon. If you're by yourself, you got to find something. What am I going to do? You can't run. There's no place to run, right? So you're going to have to fight. Now, what am I going to use to fight? Anything that's there is a weapon. So everything is a weapon. So if there's a fire extinguisher, there's your weapon. Boom, person gets in, you spray him in the face with the fire extinguisher, hit him on the head with the fire extinguisher. You got to incapacitate the attacker the best you can. The other thing is, in a classroom situation, in an office situation, there's a lot of things on the desk. It could be anything. It could be, the stapler. It could be, pens, knives, great weapons, knives. I'm sorry, pens, pencils. If you're carrying a knife at work, that's not too good. But if you have a letter opener, there's your weapon. Stuff like that. So whatever's available, even a magazine, you roll up a magazine and you hit somebody in the face with a magazine, rolled up magazine, it's a formidable weapon. You hit them in the throat, it's a formidable weapon. Hit them in the eyes, and any, of course, the vital organs, the vital spots. So using whatever is available to your in your area, you got to do. All right. So now, if let's say you're not alone and you're with somebody else, so now this person's coming through, they're banging through the door. You tell somebody, okay, I'm going to go for the guy's gun. You guys go for the legs. You guys go for the head, and you all attack at the same time. Okay. You don't let this guy get in the room and start shooting away. All right. You all attack at the same time. Or if you have, again, objects that as the guy comes through the door, people throwing things at him, so to distract him, and boom, another guy goes for the gun, goes for the weapon. All right. So, little scenarios that you put in your head may be what you need to save your life, right? Again, if there's more than two people, you make a plan. This is what we're going to do. Boom, you do this, I do this. Once I do this, we're all going to jump on him. We're going to hold him down to the ground. And, and if you got the guy down to the ground, you yell out, we got him, we need help, we need help, we need help. Let people know that, you have one of the assailants down or the assailant down, and you need help controlling him. And the same thing, if you want to see that person's hands as well. So if you have the attacker on the floor, don't let him reach down into his belt for another gun, maybe a handgun or a grenade or a knife. You want to keep his hands out straight out in front of him. All right. And the rule of law is that if somebody is attacking you or anybody else and they're doing bodily harm, there's no limitations to what you can do. Okay. And it sounds kind of scary, but that means that if you have to kill this person, you got to do what you got to do. You got to kill the person. Okay. In most street situations, you can only apply as much force as what's given to you. So in other words, if it's a fist fight, it's a fist fight. You can't take a knife to a fist fight. You can't take a gun to a knife fight, right? So it's not equally balanced. So the law says, even though it's a deadly weapon, you have to match with what's being brought to you. So if you have to take this person down, you have to hit him in the head with the fire extinguisher, so be it. There's a really good pressure point located just below the earlobe, behind the earlobe. If you take your thumb and push it into your ear, you'll feel it, and it's almost where the jaw connects to the skull. That's a pressure point. If you hold that person's head to the floor, put your thumb in that pressure point, and you hold that thumb down, it incapacitates the nervous system. It kind of short circuits the nervous system. And the thinking too is that the body doesn't go anywhere without the head. Okay, so if you control the head, you control the body. Again, you don't want to put your knee on somebody's head or neck. We've seen the terrible outcome that caused. But if you have your knee on the center of their back, pressing down on the center of the back, your thumb is at their ear, underneath their ear, and you're pushing all your weight down on top of their body, and you're almost holding your body weight against their head. That'll help to control the person. The ears themselves, and now I'm actually switching a little bit to what happens if you're attacked one-on-one. All right. That is a scary situation, especially, again, you're visually impaired. You have no idea what the intention of this person is. Where is it going to go? What's he going to do? And I can tell you that no matter how much money you have on you, how much value you have in your pockets, nothing's more valuable than your life. So if you're going to get robbed, don't fight for your sneakers. Give them up. You'll buy another pair, you get another pair. Somehow it'll work its way out. If you got $1 in your pocket, give it up. You got $100, give it up. It's better than going to the hospital and finding out that you got yourself a nice cut, nice wound that you didn't need for $10. And cause all kinds of issues. So that being said, think about how you pick your fights, and what's important to you at the end of the day. You want to go home, or you want to be, a macho man and I'm going to fight you, you disrespecting me, or, who gives a crap? As long as at the end of the day, you go home, you're safe, you're happy, you're with your family. I mean, that's the bottom line. So again, I want to digress and go back to, if you're being attacked one-on-one, you need to do everything you can. Okay. You need to scream, you need to scratch, you need to kick, you need to punch, you need to bite. You need to do everything you can and make as much noise as you can, make as much fuss as you can. An attacker wants an easy victim. Okay. And for the most part, They don't want somebody who's going to be fighting you, fighting them. And they may tell you, hey, if you do this, do that, so I'm going to kill you. Well, guess what? They may kill you anyway. So and I'm hard to say that, but it's the truth. You may find yourself having one opportunity to fight, and that may be when you're being grabbed, when you're being attacked, or when you're being assaulted. For those people, if you grab their ears or their earrings, you could rip the ears and the earrings off. If you grab behind the ear, and for a lot of you who went to Catholic school, this was a great torture that the nuns used to use. They grab your ears and twist your ears and pick you off the floor, and you have to, get taken down to the office or what have you. So and I only know that a couple of times. So, but if you grab somebody's ear and you get a good piece of the ear in your hand and you pull, you can rip the ear off the head. Okay. It doesn't take a lot to rip it. You just got to hold on and not let go and pull and pull. And I can tell you, it's extremely painful. Anything that happens with the ears, extremely painful. If you have to, you cup your hand, make a cup with your hands, all 5 fingers tight together, as if you're collecting water in your palm of your hand, and you smack the person in the eardrum. You box the eardrum, you pop the eardrum. Okay. Again, extremely painful to break the eardrum. If you do both hands together and you clap both hands together, boom, you pop both eardrums. Okay. If you have to, and you have to punch at somebody who's grabbing you, you always have the option to poke your fingers in their eyes. Right. I want to even level the ball field, right? Level the playing field. Now I can't see. Well, guess what? You can't either. Boom, and we poke them in the eyes. I teach my students that once I get a hold of you, I can't let you go. And the reason is, if I defend myself and I let you go, I got to worry about you coming back to attack me a second time. So I got to take care of you the first time. So, and that could be anything. That could be, again, punch to the throat, a stab to the eyes, use the palm of your hand to punch them in the nose, under the bridge of the nose, break the nose, pull on their ears, punch them in the throat, take away their wind, knee them in the stomach, in the groin, kick them in the knees, hit them in the shins, step on the top of their feet, slam down on top of their feet or on top of their toes and break their toes, break their foot. So there's a lot of different ways that, we can attack the body to defend ourselves enough to get away. Okay. And as I said, depending on the attack, and I don't know the intention of this person, I have to kind of either hold him there or break something so I can get away. Okay. And at that point, I'm hoping that somebody would have already come to my aid and, helping me out. I will tell you that you'd have to learn certain techniques in order to be able to break a bone where you want it broken, and how to do that. So I would suggest, if you're interested in the martial arts of self-defense, you find a good school that'll teach you that. And a good school would not only teach you these techniques, but they teach you about the tradition, the history of the art. They'll teach you about the discipline and what makes a good martial artist. And it's not just about kicking and punching and fighting and grappling. And you see these guys on the MMA, they're fantastic. They're warriors. They're incredible. Chances are you're not running into a guy like that. You're running into an average Joe who's hungry for money, wants the drugs. He's, and you actually have a chance. I also don't recommend that if you're in a confrontation with somebody, that you go to the ground with them, because you don't know if their friends are with them or their friends are coming to their aid. Meanwhile, you're on the ground grappling with this guy and their friends come and kick you in the face. or kick you in the ribs, and now you got two people on you. So if you can knock the person over, get them down, get away again, yell, scream, do whatever you can to get attention. And if you're a younger person, a young child, yell out, "You're not my mom, you're not my dad, help me, somebody help me." And for the most part, they suggest that you go to a woman. A woman is more likely to help you than a guy. In fact, a kid is more able or willing to go to a woman than he would a guy. So those are options out there to the young kids if they feel themselves getting grabbed or hassled or what have you. They can always reach out and get some help. Excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry about that. It's allergy time and you get this scratchy throat. So there's a lot of different things you could do. We also use what we call pinch points. So if you grab somebody underneath their armpit where the floating ribs are, you grab the skin and you twist and pinch. If you do it, let somebody do it to you, or you do it to somebody, it hurts like crazy. So it's a good way to get somebody's attention. It's a good way to push somebody away from you. The other points are the neck. You grab right by the carotid artery, and you twist, pinch, twist. Pinch, pull, and twist. Excuse me. Pinch, pull, and twist. And another good pressure point. Let's see. There's pressure points in the thighs. There's pressure points, like I said, by the ears, behind the ears. The pressure point is in the temple. If you put your one hand on one side of the person's head and take your pointer finger and the knuckle on the pointer finger and push it into the temple on the other side of the head. Okay, extremely painful. If somebody grabs you from behind and they're reaching their arms around you, if they're reaching their arms and your arms are free, so they're reaching underneath you, you take that same pointer finger, bend it, and screw it into between their knuckles on the back of their hand. Again, excruciatingly painful, and that helps release the grip. Again, somebody grabs you from the back, you kind of what we call it go into a horse stance. So if you can imagine being on a horse is wide, so your legs are far apart from foot to foot, and your knees are kind of bent. So that's how you are without the horse. You slide one foot to the left or the right, you go down into a deep horse stance. Now your center of gravity is lower. It's harder for somebody to pick you up. And if you tell yourself that you weigh much as a ton, it makes it even harder for that person. So, and you guys can do this with partners. Have that person wrap your arm around them and say, okay, the person being grabbed is going to tell themselves, I'm light as a feather. And that person will wrap their arms around you and pick you up like you're light as a feather. Then you do it the other way. The person being grabbed tells themselves, I'm heavy as a ton. And you'll see that person can't pick you up. It's a big difference in attitude and what you think. So if I go down into a horse stance and I got this and I'm going down, the person's coming down with me, and I go back with my head, I'm going to hit him in the back of the head, in the nose with the back of my head. Okay, again, a game changer. Excuse me, I got to take a drink. So again, a game changer. And, we train in the martial arts with thousands and thousands of techniques, only because if one doesn't work, we move to another. If that doesn't work, we move to another. So again, somebody grabs me, I go down, I try to headbutt them in the back, I miss. Now I can stomp their feet. Boom, I stomp their feet. Or I slide my hips forward and I back punch them and I punch them in the groin. Okay, another game changer. Usually by that time, the person has let go. If they still haven't let go, I grab onto their arm, turn my body to the left, and go down on my right knee as they come flying over my right shoulder. Okay, they're following your body, and all they're doing is, you're doing the directing. So you're putting them exactly where you want them to go. If the person grabs you from the front, the same thing. There's my headbutt. Boom. There's my knee to the groin. And again, you don't always need to knee to the groin. I mean, if you tell a guy you're going to knee him to the groin, or he's going to flinch even before you pick your foot up. So, it's a deterrent to begin with. But if you kick just underneath the belt into the stomach, you kick in and down. If you take the tip of your toes, the tip of your point of your shoe, whether it's a sneaker, a dress shoe, or boot, or whatever, you kick right where the leg and the torso meet, the inguinal fold, right there. You disconnect the femur from the hip. Okay, you disconnect the bone there. Boom, nice sharp kick. You kick into the kneecap sideways. You kick into the kneecap as the person puts their foot on their weight on that foot. You kick that knee. Okay, because now all his weight is on that foot. He can't move it. There, you kick it. Boom, you snap the knee. Okay. So there, again, a ton of different things that you can do. And, some of these are just my opinion, experience, and just training, and not really having to apply to any real, extent. And if you join a martial arts school, be competitive, because that's where you get not the courage, but you get the nervousness out. You get that feeling of, I can do this. Win or lose, doesn't matter. As long as you participate, you go into it, because that's stepping out of your comfort zone. And every time you step out of your comfort zone, you get stronger. Okay. Every time you get stronger, you build more confidence. Every time you get more confidence, you build more strength in who you are and what you are and what you can do. So then you start releasing the potential that's in you. So you want to build all that. You want to bring all that out. You want to, have that smile on your face, a smile in your heart. But you also want to be able to walk with that confidence that, I am protected. I am loved. I'm perfect. So, so if there's any questions, I'll be happy to take questions at this point. Are we quiet?
If anyone has any questions, you can put them right in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. If you're dialing in, you could press *6, or you can select on the lower left hand of the screen the mute button.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Karen. Yeah. And you're right, what you just said about, thank you for that. Really great. It's such great information. I appreciate it when you just said about the confidence. I remember, I'm 56 now, but I remember I was in college and very early 20s, maybe 21 or something. And I took a self-defense class. Not only I took it, it was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 classes or whatever, but I'll never forget it. And even to this day, just having that class, it was a short period of time, but I still have like confidence because I had it. I wish I had more, but just I remember some of the techniques, and it was just like, and I just wish that every woman, and man, but particularly women,
that's right,
could do it. You know what I mean? And it's been like 40 years almost, about 35 years. And I feel confident because,
and you still remember.
Not that I win any situation, but I remember, like, don't, and I remember I used to watch Oprah, and I don't know if you remember, she used to have this detective on called JJ, like Knickerbocker or something. He had some funny last name. And he was a detective and gave like similar tips like you did. And I remember one of the tips he said was like, don't get in the car. I mean, and he said, just don't get in the car because that may be your last time.
That's right.
And I never forgot that, thank God I've never been in that situation, but, like, don't get in the car. And, and it just, even learning how to swim, You know what I mean? I'm not a good swimmer. I can't, swim for the Olympics or nothing, but I never really mastered their technique. But just initially not being afraid to take the classes. I did not know how to swim at all. And just the classes that I did have, it's just like, okay, I'm not a swimmer, but I feel confident that if somebody pushed me into water or if I fell into some water, I'm confident that I will try. I don't know if I'll make it, but I feel confident that I have a chance of surviving.
Right. And, I failed to mention that. It's a good point you brought up. The same thing. Do not let yourself be taken out of your area. Don't let yourself be pulled into the alley. Don't let yourself be pulled into the car, into the elevator, into the stairwell. You scratch, you scream, and again, and worst case scenario, you want to get your fingernails under some skin, or get some skin under your fingernails. So if you're scratching at their eyes, you're pulling on their face, you're tearing at their skin, at the worst case scenario, they find you, dead, or unconscious. Now they have some DNA that we have proof of who this person was. And with today's technology, I don't care who you are, they're finding cold cases 30 years ago. So, I would never feel comfortable committing a crime and thinking I got away with it, because 10, 15, 20 years from now, they'd be knocking on my door, hey, we got this new technology and now we know it was you, so no matter what you do, you really got to do the right thing. And the fact that you remember some of the things that you learned in that class was really valuable,
and it gave me confidence. You know what I mean? I don't remember all of it, but I remember, I knew enough to remember that just because I'm a female doesn't mean I have to be taken down. Doesn't mean that I can't survive.
That's right.
And I hear some women say, well, if men get, I'm like, no, you can't think like that. You just can't think, because you're 100-pound woman, which I'm not. You're a small, petite woman, and somebody may come up to you and they're 290 pounds. You can't just think, oh my God, he's got me, I'm dead. You can't think like that.
Right.
So I have the confidence that, not that I'll necessarily win, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah,
and I know that just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I necessarily that's a wrap. I'm done.
Yeah. And like you said, it really doesn't matter how big that person is. Knees break, no matter how big you are. And I tell my student, I'm 65, so I can't do high kicks anymore, but I'll kick your legs out, and now I don't have to kick you high, because now you're down lower, so then I'll kick you in the chest or kick you in the face when you're down lower. But so again, you do what you can, you do what you have to. And I forgot to say this as well. My dad had instilled this all the time when we were growing up, that violence is ignorance. Okay. And when somebody's committing violence, it's because of their ignorance. They don't know any better, and that's their only way of getting money, or getting their drugs or whatever it is that they, and 90% of the time is money. They're looking for money for whatever, it could be any reason. But and to keep away from those situations, and to listen and to pay attention to, just what's going on around you. Even if you're in the park having fun with friends, and if you hear something, and okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Sensei Devin.
Who's that, Ann?
Hey.
Hello.
Mom. I'm saying hi to Sensei Devin. Hi.
Hi, Ann.
Hi. How you doing? It's been a long time.
Good. And we're right in the middle of a conversation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know. I'm just gonna make one comment, Sensei Devin. Sure. The criminals are dumb.
You're right, and that's why they're criminals.
And one more thing. I don't know why these people try to rob places when you have cameras all over the place. Okay.
That's true. That's very true. And actually, Anne is one of my students. She moved to Florida a few years ago, and she's kept in contact since. which is great, her and her family. But yeah, so, again, back to, having the confidence to just get out there and do what you want to do. Excuse me. Be able to know that, okay, I'm not going to be the best fighter. I'm not going to, conquer the world. But if I have a situation, I feel like I can get out of this. I can help myself, and using every tool in your toolbox. And again, everything's a weapon. What you find on the street, you fold your cane in half. That becomes a nice strong weapon. You can use that to stab and to poke and to all kinds of stuff. If you leave the cane open, you hit somebody with that and it just folds, it bends, it just it'll bend at its seams. So by folding it in half, now it becomes a stronger tool. And I think somebody asked earlier, would you recommend carrying a weapon? And I said no, only because if you're visually impaired, I don't want that weapon to be taken away from me and used against me. Okay, because I don't know what they have in their hand, and I take out my knife and boom, he kicks me in the hand, or he cuts me with his knife. Now he's got two knives, or whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of a tricky call. And I guess it depends on, you personally, how you feel about that. But again, to me, it's like going onto the ground and fighting somebody when, there could be two friends around waiting to help them. So I wouldn't want to do that either. But yeah, so anybody else?
Hey, Sensei
Devin,
Devin.
we have time for we have about 5 more minutes, and Marilyn has her hand raised. So Marilyn, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. Devin, I'm listening to you, and it brought back memories of a story when I was mugged. And I was mugged with my youngest son. We were coming home from King Cullen, and these two guys jumped me. And back in those days, there weren't a lot of houses out here on the island. And they wanted my pocketbook, which I was fighting not to give them. And I think my adrenaline, when you were talking about adrenaline, because I thought my adrenaline rush was crazy because I had to defend my son. He was like 3 or 4 years old. So there was no way these guys were going to, do anything to me. The adrenaline, I had strength that I never knew I even had. Of course, once I got home, I broke down. I called my husband at work. He came right home. The police came, and I was pretty banged up from them. But they still didn't get my pocketbook. My son was crying. My son had a lot of problems when he was younger because of it. He was afraid, and he goes, "Hide, mommy, teenagers are coming."
He was
traumatized. And I said, it'll be okay. They're not going to bother us. But it took a lot of courage for me to get back out there with my cane. Today I have a dog. I would never be without a dog. Right. But I don't carry a weapon, but what I do carry is protection spray. I have 2 of them. When I go walking my dog every morning before I go to work, Devin, and I'm by myself, I pay attention to my surroundings, but that thing is in my hand and I am ready to spray. And
Marilyn, I think I remember you telling me that one time you were walking and you heard footsteps behind you.
Yes.
And you felt a little uncomfortable about that.
Yep. And it was a man walking behind me not that long ago, a few months back. And, it just made me nervous. And my dog kept turning around, which she never does. I kept saying forward, and all these things come into your mind. Like just you talking about your adrenaline and me, feeling the strength that I had to protect my son. But I don't know what would have happened if I didn't pick up the stick, because when they knocked me down and they were kicking me, they bruised my ribs. I was surprised I didn't have broken ribs. But I guess they thought, well, this woman is blind with a cane and a little kid, so she's going to be an easy target. Yeah, but they realized, that I wasn't that easy a target. Like I said, but, I think what got me was the police, when they came, their attitude. Well, you can't tell us what they look like. We don't know who we're looking for. And I said, no, I can't tell you that. I can't see,
Mhm.
you know. And my son was too young to really, all he kept saying was, teenagers, hide, mommy, hide, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're bringing a lot of things up now, you know, but you're right. When you have an adrenaline rush, and especially if you have a child with you, your first instinct is to protect that child, blind or not.
Yeah.
So, you know, thank you for sharing this, because this is really a lot of good information.
They didn't see the Superwoman on your T-shirt.
I don't know, Superwoman. I did, like I said, it was scary getting back out there, but I had to do it.
Thank God you weren't hurt.
Yeah, my son, I don't know if he still remembers it because he's in his 40s now, but for many years he said, I remember, Mama, I remember.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hey, Sensei Devin, it's Sally, one of your other students.
Hello, Sally.
How are you? I would say that Sensei Devin, I am a single woman who travels all over the place at this point, and it's all in great gratitude to his training that he has given me.
Yeah.
And he's the Jiminy Cricket on my shoulder a lot of times, saying, Sally, be aware of what's going on. Or making me think, okay, I have my keys in my hands. That's a smart thing to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always having your options open, and you've really made me aware of that, and I completely appreciate you for that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Honestly, you brought that out yourself. I mean, I just helped you find it.
You guided me.
That was all you. So, and Sally also had to protect herself on the train one day too. So
true fact.
So,
and it was you that helped me do that.
Yeah, I wasn't even there.
It was all the knowledge you gave me.
I know. I'm only kidding.
Well, thank you so much, Devin, for being with us tonight and sharing this wonderful information. And thank you to everybody who was so open and to share their stories with us. If there's any other questions that come up, you can feel free. We are going to share Devin's contact information with you, along with the recording and a link to the resource that was also mentioned. So you can be on the lookout for that later this week. And then, like I said, again, anything else comes up, please feel free to reach out to Devin or myself, and we'll get those questions answered for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Carly.
Okay.